Good morning. Today is April 2nd, 1979.
The first order of business, the 3 Mile Island near Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, is finally contained after 5 days. People involved are station manager Gary Miller, who approved the general emergency that the potential for serious radiological consequences for the general public.
William Scranton III, who incorrectly stated the position of the plant was fine and that no radiation was released. Joseph Hendrick and Commissioner Victor Galinsky initially viewed the accident as no position for harm.
Babcock Hillcox said that the plant had untrained and tired employees as well as the lack of communication the day of the disaster.
The first day, March 28, 1979, the primary coolant release valve failed. The workers misunderstood the light to believe that there was too much coolant, so they kept the valve open. The secondary main feed valve failed, and the reactor went into emergency shutdown.
The control lines were installed to halt the reaction, but the reaction continued and heat continued to build up because of the release valve was faulty and coolant was being drained. The reaction was unable to be cooled.
On the third day, it was still unclear that the coolant was being released. It was later refilled, but half the reactor was melted. At the end of day 3 to 5, radiation spread through a 50-mile radius, but it was not harmful enough to harm organisms.
Again, this happened because untrained employees, faulty systems, and the loss of communication.
As a result of the disaster, the eyes of America are now open to the act of a nuclear disaster. It is now a real possibility, and now new rules and cleanup are being tightened.
The lead person, also NRC Chairman Joseph Hendrick, advised pregnant and preschool children to evacuate within 5 miles of the radius of the nuclear meltdown. This was later increased to 20 miles.
Although radiation levels were not high, it could have saved lives.
Because of this disaster, plans for building nuclear reactors right now are being canceled, and plans for future reactor buildings, up to maybe 40, are being canceled. This is predicted to have a major effect on our fuel sources for later life.
Because of this is now spreading fear in the local neighborhoods surrounding nuclear power plants.
Because of this fear, it is true that it will now affect Americans later in life, because we will ultimately depend on natural resources because of this outbreak.
It is also true that fear will linger for decades to come because of this nuclear reaction.
Now to Kyle with the weather on the local area.
Thank you, Kyle.
Now to commercials.
I still dug!